One of the things, I had forgotten about this, but one of the things Jimmy Buffett did with his kids on Christmas every year was they would put messages in bottles and throw them into the ocean wherever they were. None of these have ever been found.
And this affects the future in what fashion?
Well, they're bobbing around out there somewhere,
I see.
presumably,
All
or
right.
they sunk. So if
David, am
someone
I
comes up to you and says, "This is a bottle that says it was sent by Jimmy Buffett
right?
or Cameron," or it might be.
Now, can I ask you a question? Are time capsules still a thing? They were a big thing back in the 30s, 40s, 50s. I think people, I hope, are.
60s.
I mean, time capsule is YouTube now and the internet, but a physical time capsule are also pretty cool and will be in 100 years.
I
David,
remember them being opened, but not.
Oh, I can remember them being created and it being in the local news.
right.
I don't remember seeing one for a long time.
Yeah, I haven't seen a story on time capsules recently. No, we did one in God, I don't know what grade, but we did one in, I'm going to say, junior high school, or as they call it now, middle.
Mm-hmm.
Now, am I just behind the times or is Mr. Atkins new?
I'm
Miss,
but old.
I was going to say he's new
Well,
compared with me, but yeah.
So I
Miss.
attended that Knights of Columbus many years ago.
Oh,
Oh,
okay.
well, welcome back.
I was at some of those meetings. Yeah, I just, yeah, every time somebody shows up that I don't recognize, I like to sort of figure out who it is.
A lot of that happened last night at our front door.
We
What?
had the only people we had
yeah.
last night were the neighbors.
We went through 37 Snickers and 24 bags of Takis.
Wow.
Bags of what?
Takis, Takis.
Oh, Takis, the Fritos on steroids. Yeah.
Yeah, they're very spicy and they're all the rage with the young kids.
Oh, yeah.
Now
No.
that's interesting. Usually young children do not like spicy stuff
Well,
Yeah.
you don't San Diego. In San Diego, they do.
because they have very, very active taste buds.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
your
we had-
taste buds deteriorate as you get
Capsaicin
older.
is, yep.
We had one boy, and it's not the real young children, it's the 10-year-olds. But we had one boy come up and he saw the bowl full of Snickers and Takis and he asked for Takis. And then he turned to his friends and said, they got Takis and only one left. And all four of the other
Oh, yeah.
boys all charged our house like it was out of the movie Rat Race or something. It was crazy.
Yep.
But I bought a box of 40, so we had plenty.
Yep. Do they do back there? Do they do destination trick or treating? So here in San Diego, they'll post the place to get the $4 candy bars, and people will bust themselves up there, and they really don't mind. It's when the multi-millionaires get to feel good about handing out $4 candy bars.
Well, and I know that at University of
Just buy
Minnesota
the
and other
bags
places.
of little miniatures and dump
Yeah,
them
no,
in
at
the pool.
colleges they'll grad students will have insight and they'll do something similar when there's events on site with free food, and they'll sneak in and grab free food.
And I was reminded in Golden Valley as a kid, there was a guy who he was a widower, I believe, and he didn't want to fiddle with candy or didn't want to rot our teeth and whatever. And he would start out with rolls of quarters. Do the math. That's 5 nickel candy bars. And you'd go to his house and you'd get a quarter and you go cha-ching. And yeah, and then he'd run out of quarters, and sorry, all I got left is dimes and all that. But he was a great guy. But anyway, a quarter today is about $2.50, three and a quarter, something like that.
I am always fascinated by the notion of a holiday in honor of extortion.
Yeah.
Well, they're not really threatening to
Yes, they are.
We did.
That's
Trust
the
me,
meaning of trick or treat.
we did. We soaped a few windows. How dare you not be home on Halloween?
And of course, the Halloween derives from All Hallows Eve,
Right.
which is what, the Day of the Dead? Or the day before? The Day
It's
of the Dead?
related, which is today or tomorrow in San Diego, and a big,
Yeah.
big.
Mexico. Yeah.
It's been around
Yeah.
for 10,000 years. Dia de la Muerte.
Right, but
That's
in
been swapped out
English,
for, that's been
the day
swapped out for
before
time
that
change.
translates into All Hallows Eve.
Well,
Excuse me,
Hearted.
David,
could we start raising hands?
Oh,
Because people who hear two people at the same time don't hear either one.
yeah.
Yeah.
We're still in the random bits bit, so we're not as formal, but you're right.
Yes, but even so, it's hard to hear, and it's even harder.
I will be
If
good
you're
and
not-
raise my hand. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it?
It's the
I
reaction.
already
Yeah.
raised my hand to say yes, I will raise my hand.
Thank you. Do we have any other random bits that might affect the future?
Um, no one else hands up, but yeah, my contribution to the future on Halloween is to not hand out candy. I hand out microwave popcorn packets, and the kids really like them. I mean, could break a tooth, I suppose, if they bite down on a unpopped kernel, but I think it's generally better for them than the sweets.
Of course, there's some issue with the artificial butter that goes on those. Oh,
Carol,
yeah.
was your hand up?
Oh, can't find it.
Go ahead, David.
Jane,
Or
your hand is
actually,
up.
Stan's was up.
Okay.
I sent this out, the video that I saw about a team, I'll post it, that's designing a new unique idea of fusion. And it basically utilizes a combination of magnetism and voltage. And it's a very unique process that looks like it's got some promise. And so I really, a lot of the discussion was a little over my head, so I'm only going to post it. I'll post a video on it. I think I sent a video out to some people that are on my list about it. But it's another idea. And I also saw, David, do I have, am I presenting next week?
I'll have to look.
According to the meetup list, next week is a potpourri.
Next week, Dean is presenting.
Okay.
Okay.
And since I didn't have what his topic was, I put
Well-
potpourri.
We could put it in the trivia potpourri box, yeah. No, but it's going to be tech and AI and the good and the bad and the ugly.
Okay.
Since I have the floor temporarily here, and this is the future, so there are dentists that will give you $1 per pound for your candy, and then they donate it to homeless veterans groups. and get you signed up on emails or whatever. Yeah, this is the future of Halloween. It was in the 50s that people were handing out cake, cookies, whatever, right? And the candy bar companies, Mars et al., said, "Hey, why can't we make money on this stuff?" And they started pushing, and that was in the 50s, I believe, when Halloween candy became a thing.
Carol?
Back in the 60s, children used to go about on Halloween with little cardboard boxes collecting money for UNICEF. Anybody
I did that.
remember that?
I did big time. That was half of our evening was spent.
Yeah.
for
Yeah,
UNICEF.
and
That does still
supposedly
happen.
people were supposed to put money in the box and give you candy.
Mhm.
That didn't always work, but
Killing two birds with one stone.
yeah.
And I don't throw rocks at birds, by the way.
2 begs with 1 asket.
There you go.
Doug?
Yeah, I just changing the subject a little bit here, but I just read an article this week where the U.S. Air Force is starting to study plasma propulsion. I can't even say the word instead of running on jet fuel. And it sounded very exciting in the fact that, according to them, that the planes could go up and virtually stay up, forever. You don't need to refuel or anything.
Ooh.
But it's plasma propulsion, and it's another one of those things where I think China started it, but now the U.S. is also looking into it.
Yeah.
You believe that?
Yes, we're trying to catch up with them.
Yeah, that part I sure believe. Whoa.
I could ask my son, but if it's top secret, he would not be able to discuss it. So my son's a major in the United States Air Force. He's flying fighter jets for them.
Well, if he says nothing, then you have your answer.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, it's hard for them to talk because they often don't know what is actually classified or not, so they just err on the side of look for published reports.
Yeah, this was in a major article that came out, and I thought, boy, that's well, it supposedly also could be used for space travel.
Yes, in fact, it has been.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you have a link for that you could put in the chat?
It was just USA pound America is where it was.
So if you just look at Wikipedia, the history is that it's been used. It was used on the Soviet Zond 2 space probe. It's been used since 2011 on certain thrusters. So it's been around for a while. It's just this development now is being used in the atmosphere, not just for space flight.
Yeah, I mean, it sounded pretty amazing.
I got my hand.
And I wasn't watching which cans came up first. My screen says Dean.
Yours.
Oh, mine. Well,
If you set your Zoom so you just have little people on the top and one speaking, the hands are arranged in the order of raising.
Right.
okay. Well, since I had my hand up before everybody else that I was counting.
That's why you're on the left.
Yep. Let's see.
Then Carol, then Dean.
There was an interesting article that came up on my videos this week regarding a study that apparently the mRNA vaccines for COVID actually help your immune system recognize cancer, for what that might be worth. And another study done by a demographer suggests that the population will peak within the next 10 years, but most of the continents of the world, the population has already peaked and is decreasing. And while some nations are attempting to change that, it does not appear as easy as we might wish. I wondered if someone might be interested in doing a presentation on that at some point for us.
Carol, go ahead.
Yes, I have a question about the whole plasma thing. Is this controlled by magnetic fields, or how are you controlling the plasma?
No one else is
Whoever
answering.
brought this topic up.
It's got to be
I'm next.
magnetic.
No
field.
doubts, it's EMF. Yeah, no doubts it involves magnetism.
Yeah.
Right. Because plasma is charged gas, it's ions. So
Yep.
it's that's how you
Okay.
control them is with
So,
magnet.
so that's your control mechanism to squeeze it down and make it propel?
How do you get it going?
Plasma engine capable of endless flight, conventional turbines that burn fuel. These engines ionize atmospheric air and accelerate it through powerful electromagnetic fields, generating a
Okay.
thrust in a way that resembles a miniature fusion reactor.
Right.
Okay, that's what I wanted to ask.
A
Thank you.
plasma equivalent of a fan jet or turbojet.
We turn electricity into moving air.
Which would not work in space very well at all unless you're wanting to throw away your air.
Yeah, there's no air there.
Right.
Okay, I guess I think I'm next, or are you next, Carol?
Carol.
Well, I was just going to say the space one for this involves sucking in interstellar hydrogen. And it's for long trips at very fast speeds.
Buzzard ramjet.
There we go. Yes. You don't need to sacrifice your air.
Most commonly found in science fiction.
Yes.
So far.
That's
Far
what
as
he
we
just
know,
said. It was the buzzard ramjet.
yeah, it's theoretical at this point as far as we know.
Yes.
Just a couple responses to a couple of things that was recently mentioned. The cancer, what the mRNA vaccines help with is somehow they sensitize our immune system to heat. But apparently, oh, I just got a delivery. To heat so that our immune system can attack the cancers that tend to be hot spots in the body. So that's the main mechanism. As far as population, yes, it is declining in Europe and places like that, and that's mostly because more affluent societies have fewer kids because they don't need them to work on the farm or whatever. So that's really the basic mechanism.
And we have effective birth control.
Birth control helps, but that's not the real solution. The real solution is to make allow everyone to have enough, make them affluent.
I was just going to say I've posted several videos in the chat. The first one is the company invented a new way to do fusion, which is what I talked about earlier. And then the second one is DeepSeek has come up with a process when it comes to prompting AI. They actually have determined that you can set up a prompt in an image like a PNG or a JPEG file, and the OCR can actually see that and make a better prompt and tokenize it. Does that make any sense? Tokenizing the prompt can be done better as a image rather than as ASCII file style text. And they're talking about a 10x improvement in efficiency with it. If that seems to make no sense to you, there's the video on New DeepSeek did something crazy. Basically, they're saying it's better to submit a prompt as an image of words than to actually submit it as words.
May I interject? It's 10 o'clock.
Yes, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And David, I will commit to doing a John Ehrlichman population bomb circa 2025 forward. I won't give you a date, but that's my next project.
Okay. Chris, you're on.
Hey, I have a slide. I'm going to try to share the screen.
And
Can anybody see the
Yep.
sand thing?
Yes.
Okay.
mm-hmm.
If
It's
you can blow it
on.
up, there you go.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Okay, so let's go. Sand, the most important solid material on Earth. So what is sand? Sand is primarily made of silicon dioxide. Sand is the second most abundant element on Earth, constituting approximately 28% of the Earth's crust by weight. The most abundant element on Earth is oxygen. It makes up about 47% of the Earth's crust by mass and is also a major component of the atmosphere and water. The word sand refers to a range of tiny objects of many shapes and sizes made of many different substances. It doesn't matter what the substance is. If it's hard and if it is within a certain shape range, it's classified as sand. The salt in your teaspoon before you add it to your soup is sand before it dissolves. The most common geological standard for defining sand are loose grains of any hard material with a diameter between 2 and 0.0625 meters. There are other definitions. For example, desert sand is defined as grains that are too big to be picked up and swept away as dust, but not too big to be nudged along the ground by the winds or flying grains. And in water, sand are those grains that are most easily moved by flowing water. The sand-sized grains are those that move more easily, that water can move. Water won't move bigger pieces because they're too big, and water won't move smaller pieces like sediment because there's too much cohesion. They have such little weight and too much surface area. So sand in water is sand that can be moved by water. Okay. There are many, many different kinds of sands. There's a dazzling variety of sands which make them collector's items. Oops. This slide shows some of the different kinds of sands. They're actually collector's items. Some people collect samples of sand every place they go. They're all distinct. You can actually take some sand and analyze it and tell exactly what location it comes from. This is used in forensic sciences. And I would say, would somebody call on people who raise their hand? Tom, would you do that, please?
Okay.
And people can raise their hand anytime they want, take questions anytime during the talk.
Dean has his hand up already.
Okay.
Dean was born with his hand up. Yeah. I know a bit about sand. Fascinating. But water can move 3-ton grains of sand if there's enough water.
Yes, yes. That's a good point. They probably mean the normal flow of a river. But that's a good point. The better definition, the more accurate definition of sand is hard materials between certain sizes.
And then 10 seconds, there's a project going on in Oceanside, and they're calling it found sand because our beaches are disappearing, are going to be gone by the
Absolutely.
And they're capturing found sand. They're moving 20,000 cubic yards of sand to the beaches in Oceanside.
Yep. That's a topic of later slide. So how is sand formed? It's formed by weathering. Erosion of mountains is the most common way to form sand. 70% of sand grains are quartz. Most of the quartz we use is formed by erosion, wind, rain, freeze-thaw cycles, microorganisms, and other forces eat away at mountains and other rock formations, breaking grains off their exposed surfaces. Rain then washes those grains downhill, sweeping them into rivers that carry countless tons far and wide. So that's how that's where the sand comes from. Predominantly weathering of mountains. Some sand is formed by glaciers, by grinding up stones. There are marine sources of sand. Sand can be made biologically when oceans degrade seashells, corals, and marine skeletons. Some whole beaches are made out of marine sand. Volcanoes. Sand grains can originate when molten rock from volcanoes chills and shatters in the air or the water. And sand can be formed by meteor impacts that melt the surface of the earth, ejecting a cascade of liquid drops into the atmosphere.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where sand comes from, naturally. And here, and I'm going to put some emphasis on this part. This is, sand is very strange in its behavior. Sand is considered by some physicists to be a new phase of matter. Its behavior is unique. And its behavior is independent of what sand is made of. It's dependent upon the size and shape of the sand. You get an aggregate, and any aggregate of a certain size will behave similarly. Sand made out of any different material, if it's the same size, it follows the same behavior patterns. It's independent of composition. So we will look at the behavior of sand is unique. We simply do not understand some of the behaviors of sand, but it is urgent that we learn. There are 3 common phases of matter: solid, liquid, and gas. And sand can behave under certain circumstances like either of these and have properties different than all of them. So it is considered by many physicists a fourth phase of matter. There are other exotic phases of matter, but we won't talk about those. There's Bose-Einstein condensation plasma and gluon quark plasmas, but the general phases of matter are considered solid, liquid, and
Yes.
gas. So now I have a series of short slides, a whole number of them that display the unique behavior of sand. They probably don't require much in the way of, they're probably pretty self-explanatory and don't require a lot of the commentary. So I'm going to go into this series of slides now.
Is there supposed to be sound?
Can you full screen that slide?
I don't know how to do that.
It's probably that icon on the lower right.
Or double click the left, one of the two.
Okay, I don't know how to do it. Is that better?
It's okay.
Let's see if I get this down.
I think you have to do present slideshow or whatever's on the menu up there.
I don't know. Let's try it.
Yeah, slideshow will get rid of the left column.
Right.
Okay. Where is that?
On the
You
top
go
menu.
into up.
It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 over from the left, from file. Go. I mean to the right. I'm dyslexic.
Right after the animations.
Right, and before the record. No, up. Get on the menu bar. Up.
Okay.
Nope.
Insert,
Nope.
draw,
Top
design.
menu. Top menu.
Yeah.
File, home, insert. Yep.
There you go.
There you go.
Animations.
Slideshow.
No,
Slideshow.
Slideshow.
And now select from current slide, I think.
Yep.
From current slide. Okay. Very good.
Is the sound on your laptop or device turned up also?
Because you're making you're making material that requires a combination of different kind of plastics or something like this, and you have them in the hopper, and you're emptying your hopper. You better know what you're gonna be doing. You can't if you want to have the bottom come out first, you better have one hopper design. If you want them to mix as they come out, you better have another hopper design.
We have a couple questions. Can you take some now?
Yeah, oh, anytime.
Okay, go ahead, Dean.
Yeah, the irony of this for me is this morning, just before the meeting, I was shopping on Amazon and Walmart and Target for funnels. Yeah, and on a local level, my brother taught me this. We buy OxyClean by the ton at Costco, right? And then put it in the smaller containers. And we have a funnel of a certain angle and all that. And my brother said, what are you doing? And he grabbed a skewer or a chopstick and went dunk, dunk, dunk. And he didn't mention the terms, but it's static friction versus dynamic friction. You have to overcome the static friction. The funnel I want is to pour Ken's salad dressing into a squeeze bottle Heinz ketchup, so I don't get 8 tablespoons when I only want a teaspoon. But I think that's by design. But yeah, this is fascinating stuff.
Yeah, I had a couple questions. One is this bridging and this blocking kind of flow that a couple videos ago was talked about. I wonder if this applies also to blood vessels. If blockages in blood vessels, because you have particles going through, like fat particles or blood cells, if that can also make a difference, if you can do something to help keep the blood flow better, that depending on what you eat maybe or something, I don't know, drinking enough water, if that makes a difference and can help prevent medical problems.
Very interesting idea.
And my other comment,
Aren't there a lot of aspirins that are kind of like blood thinners? That's what they call
yeah,
them, blood thinners.
blood thinners might make a difference. I'm not sure exactly how they work.
My other observation,
My other comment though was this last video showed straight angles on the hoppers. Did they do any experiments with curved angles? Like, for example, if you have a slide and you're going, the fastest way from the top to the bottom of the slide depends on the shape of the slide. If it's just straight, you get a certain speed, but the fastest way shape is a catenary, which actually goes down quickly, curves, and then comes back up a little bit. That's the fastest slide for when you're working under a force like gravity, which is what these things are doing. So I'm wondering if they've done experiments with that kind of different shapes like that.
I have found no examples of that. They solve the problem in different ways.
Okay.
By blowing air through the bottom or by shaking the bottom of the tube.
Okay, Stan.
I know that this is, I'm carrying the analogy of grains and sand into fluids, but obviously automotive people who understand carburetors are into trying to mystify the gas or, get the gas to become more into a gaseous point, gasoline into a gaseous point, so it will be ignited, so it ignites better. And there's some kind of analogies there. I remember as a tank mechanic, diesel itself by itself doesn't ignite very easily. I've seen guys in tanks with some diesel on the bottom of their tank in the hull, and they put their cigarettes out in those tanks on that diesel. So there's something about diesel has to be ignited with pressure as well. So there's some other dynamics things going on there that way as well.
All right, Tom.
Some very modern combines don't have the flat wedges in the bottom of their grain tanks that they used to. I don't know if they're doing that because the curved panel would be stronger than a flat panel, or to help empty the tank when it's being dumped into the next truck. I'm curious about blood. Are old blood cells larger or have a different texture than
Yes.
newly made blood cells, and that maybe some of the longevity effects of giving blood is that you are slowly lowering the adhesion of your blood cells to each other? Don't expect any answer. I just
Don't know.
Interesting idea.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dean.
Yeah, am I unmuted? Yeah, I held up Jardiance, which is some weird drug. And yeah, they don't know how it affects blood flow, but they know that it does. It also has major side effects, so I only take it when I think it's going to keep me alive. And thank you for that term catenary, because some of the funnels I was researching this morning, and what's the opposite of catenary? Straight, I guess, right? Some of them are catenary funnels. And yeah, I don't know with what materials they will flow better. Some of the oil ones for changing oil on your car or whatever are catenary, but it depends on what you're trying to pour through it, sand or whatever, pipeweed oil or yeah. Yeah, thank you for that term catenary. That was lost in my brain somewhere.
Yeah, you can calculate that using the calculus of variations.
How about one more video on silo emptying? Sand is a literal foundation of modern society, modern civilization. Sand is as transformative as fire or electricity. We use more sand than any other natural resource except air and water. The reason that sand is the most important solid material on Earth is concrete, glass, and other materials. Concrete is indispensable for the modern world, and sand is a major component of concrete. Concrete is the skeleton of the modern world. Measured by the number of lives it touches, concrete is easily the most important man-made material ever invented. The use of sand in the form concrete has completely transformed the way we live because of construction and because of the highway. I will add quickly, nobody knows the origin of concrete, but the Romans were the ones who used it the most. The Romans increased the technology. There are concrete buildings that were built by the Romans that are standing 2,000 years later. Modern concrete does not compete with that. After the Romans, concrete was not used for 1,000 years until it was rediscovered by the British in 1750. Brief thing on concrete.
Welcome back to
and has collisions with other grains of sand, it gets rounded. Water sand, when a grain of sand when one grain of sand collides with another grain of sand in water, it's buffered by the water and it's not enough force to round it. So desert sand cannot be used in concrete.
If your home was built from desert sand, it would fall apart, and the reason behind it is crazy. The grains in desert sand are unique because they are shaped by wind instead of water. This makes them smooth and rounded, which is why sand dunes can...
I'm going to go pretty quick now. The one reason that sand is the most important solid material in the world is because concrete is the main ingredient used in construction, and sand is a major component of concrete. Also, the highway system is vastly important. It's hard to think of any other project that has so profoundly transformed America than the highway system, and that is dependent on concrete. Another reason why sand is so important is that sand is the main ingredient, is what main ingredient of glass. Next to concrete, glass is the application of sand that has most profoundly shaped the modern world. It impacts science, windows, construction materials, eyeglasses, etc. Without glass, there wouldn't be telescopes, there wouldn't be microscopes, there wouldn't be windows for construction materials. Eyeglasses alone have extended the intellectual life of people by a minimum of 15 years, and was probably a major component for the Renaissance occurring. The scholars can put on eyeglasses and extend their scholarly life for decades. Here's a video on how to make glass. It's very interesting. I wish I had another half hour. Here is silicon chips. Other uses of sand, silicon, and let me read a little bit something about silicon chips. Let me find my making computer chips requires essentially pure silicon. The slightest impurity can cause problems. Finding silicon is easy. It's one of the most abundant elements on the earth, but it needs to be purified to 99.99999999999% pure to be used in silicon chips. Spruce pine, North Carolina is the source of the purest natural quartz ever found on Earth. This ultra-elite form of sand plays a key role in manufacturing the silicon used to make computer chips. Spruce pine quartz is necessary in the complex purification process. Spruce pine is highly pure to begin with. Nearly all quartz deposits have contaminants that can't be removed. So spruce pine silica is essential for making computer chips. Another reason why sand is the most important solid material in the world. How do we currently obtain sand? Open pit mining, dredging, beast and coastal extraction, desert sand harvesting. Desert sand can be used for some things, or crushing stone and sand. I wish I had more time. Environmental impact of sand is significant. It destroys culture and beauty by making all the buildings look the same and having cities based on streets. Sand mining is basically like strip mining. Sand beaches are being destroyed. There's a lot of illegal sand mining. You could have some of the sand mafia will sometimes strip a whole beach of its sand, et cetera, et cetera. And now we go to sand shortages. You might not think that there is a sand shortage, but there is a sand shortage in the world. There is currently a worldwide sand shortage, and future sand shortages are anticipated. The sand shortages are not only due to the new construction, because the amount of construction going on now is incredible. I think China used more sand in construction between 2011 and 2013 than the United States used in the 20th century. Growth, increasing Growing cities require huge amounts of sand, and there's a sand shortage. And the sand shortage is not only due to new construction, but it's due to the decay of current concrete structures, which require replacement. A lot of the current concrete rarely lasts for 2 centuries. Most concrete today needs replacement after 50 years. So it's not only that sand is there's a sand shortage because of all the sand being used up. It's because we will need more sand to replace the concrete we've already used. And some of the implications of the sand shortage are geopolitical tensions and crime. There are a lot of regional impacts to the sand shortage. They differ depending upon location. There are different problems in China, India. There are economic problems. There are construction problems. This can lead, the economic problem can lead to instability of governments, etc. I wish I had time to go into all this stuff. There is a United Nations has a United Nations Sand and Stability Program, and needless to say, their solution to the problem is increased regulation and global governance. So you could look that up if you want to read it. I'm not sure it's ever going to be a real solution. And I will finish up with the future of sand. Let me see what else I've got here. M-sand. M-sand is the same as manufactured sand. And let me find my place here. Some of the geopolitical problems with sand is some countries are using sand to build islands, like China. They're trying to extend their ocean rights and expand their their political control. And this is China's doing this, and they're using a lot of sand to make these sand islands, and this causes political strife. Okay, here you go. M-sand is mechanically produced sand from crushed rock, is gaining traction as a sustainable alternative. It is more uniform and requires 5 to 20% less material in concrete mixes compared to natural sand. The problem is it's expensive, and it produces a lot of environmental pollutants. Desert sand utilization studies in 2023 explore treated desert sand as a viable fine aggregate for concrete. A 50% replacement level of treated desert sand achieves optimal compression strength. And then you can have recycling and the circular economy, where when you tear down a concrete building, you take that material and grind that up into aggregates and use that to make concrete for new buildings. You have design and construction innovations. One design You can increase, I think 3D printing is one of the design and construction innovations. And I think with 3D printing, you can decrease the amount of concrete that you use in a building. Another way, the future of sand is or concrete. It's the same thing. The future of sand and the future of concrete are pretty much the same. You can increase the longevity of your concrete. If you can make it last for 2,000 years like the Romans do, then the demand for sand will go down. One of the shortcomings of concrete is the vulnerability to cracks through which moisture seeps, including corrosion of rebar. It turns out that self-healing concrete is possible. Researchers are working with bacteria that excrete the mineral calcite and can survive. The bacteria can survive dormant for decades encased in concrete. When a crack forms, the encroaching water wakes up the bacteria, which starts excreting calcite, filling the cracks. The process works just fine in the lab. You can make permeable pavements. So here's one of the things you can do. When rain falls on impervious pavement, the water just flows across the surface of the land. With large volumes of rainfall, urban floods become more likely. If you have permeable pavements, the water will percolate through the concrete into the ground. That prevents flooding. It replenishes the aquifer, and it saves concrete by requiring less in the way of sewer systems and drainage infrastructure. So permeable pavements are a part of the future of sand. Marshmallow concrete. So marshmallow concrete is used in airports. It's concrete with a lot of bubbles in it. And if an airplane crashes, comes down hard on the marshmallow concrete, the concrete will fracture and absorb a lot of the energy of the impact and save lives. And it is filled with bubbles, so it uses less material. It's normally used at the end of runways if an airplane would overrun a runway and crash. There are sand alternatives.
Substitutes for sand. This video deals with different common substitutes for sand used in construction. Recently,
I think that's basically the presentation. I focused more on the behavior and the unique properties of sand because I thought that was the most interesting. The fact that there's the other things can be stated in short. Sand is so important because it's used in concrete, it's used in glass. Shortages are coming. There are geopolitical implications, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I want to thank you people so much for being so tolerant of the first 30-minute problems that I had. I am really impressed with your generosity.
That was an education.
Yeah, I'm so impressed with how generous you all were. Thank you so very, very much.
I mean, an education for me.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
And can you unshare so I can see faces? Uh-oh,
Okay,
I
Chris.
just dropped out, but go ahead, Tom.
Well, you had your hand up, Dean. Did you have something else?
Yeah, can someone unshare that so I can see faces?
Oh, yeah.
I don't,
Chris, unshare your screen.
Okay,
Yeah.
see, I don't know.
It should be up at the top, I think. You can unshare.
oh, yeah, however you do it, yeah.
Stop sharing. Is that it?
There
Yeah,
we
that's
go.
it.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think I'm still up. I can raise my hand again, 1001. Yeah, there was a Nova, or as I call them, Nova Light on
Mhm.
sand, and it's why it takes me 4, 5, 6 hours to watch a Nova
Yeah.
because I have to research this stuff on my own. But yeah, and my brother, the architect, and I like to do it just to tease him. He's my older brother. When I call concrete cement, he nearly slaps my face. Yeah. And my driveway is not 2,000 years old like the Roman concrete that they can't duplicate, but it's too old for 2025. I wanted a driveway cut, and our driveway is total 350 feet, circular driveway. And it's got a lot of lumps in there and ridges. And I got a guy out with a diamond blade, and he said, "You got $4,000?" And my concrete is only 75 years old, 77. And he said, "We will wear out diamond carbide blades trying to do anything with this concrete." All they wanted to do was jackhammer the whole thing and replace the driveway for 6, 7, 8, 12, 15, or $30,000. But yeah, sand it's a real deal. And when they say water sand, by the way, the ocean is water. The ocean doesn't create sand. Well, it does sort of kind of out of seashells and whatnot.
Right.
But that is river sand. And we
Yep.
ain't got any river deltas anymore.
Right. Dams have interfered with the production of sand and among other things.
And the Chinese don't care.
Nope.
Nope.
They have
Who
the
does the Corps
Chinese
of Engineers?
took so much sand out of the Yangtze River that bridges collapsed.
Yep.
That's one of the ecological effects of sand mining.
Yep. Tom.
Yeah. I just want to make a quick comment on wet sand. You were saying it's more like a solid. I think what happens is when you press on it, it kind of it expands, and that's because it takes more of a crystalline type shape. It kind of crystallizes. So it's interesting that the different geometric shapes it can take depending on the amount of water and so forth that's in it.
Yep. It is fascinating. The percent of water in the sand makes a big difference. It can changes from being really pretty firm to being unstable and ready to liquefy.
Right, and that kind of depends on forces between the different grains, whether it's more like a crystal or not.
Right, a small amount of grain creates bridges between a small amount of water creates bridges between the grains, kind of capillary action, which kind of cements them together. But you get too much water and it interferes with that effect.
Okay, Carol.
Yeah, I just want to say this was a fabulous presentation. And my definition of fabulous is it taught me so much that I didn't know. Well worth wading through the technical difficulties. This was a great presentation.
Yep.
Thank you. And thank you all for being so generous. See you next week.
Well, wait a minute, we have a few more hands.
Whoa.
Go ahead,
Yeah.
Dan.
Now, I was always told that if you have concrete or cement, either one, that's like a pier or that's in the water all the time, that if concrete or cement is in water, it never stops hardening.
If it keeps moving, it never stop. It will never harden.
I mean, if the water keeps moving, it won't harden, or?
If the concrete keeps moving, it will never harden. That's why they have these concrete trucks rotating.
Right.
No, but
But
I
if
mean, concrete when drying, you know, that you want they put the plastic over concrete when it's to keep it to let it harden. But if it's wet, it continues to harden forever.
And that's the whole science of how you cure concrete. There's hardening, there's drying, there's curing, and those have whole different lifespans. And
Yeah.
on Sunday, I dare you to tell my brother Gary that concrete and cement are the same thing. He'll slap your face on
Dean, did
Zoom.
you have something else?
Yes, but let me defer to H. Tom while I try to
Okay.
remember what it was.
Oh, the part of the reason for the plastic cover is to keep animals off of it
Yeah.
and leaves and stuff like that. But the being trapped in sand and trapped in a grain bin are very similar and very different, and there are different safety regulations for both. There is how to self-extricate if it's possible. Is most of what I was going to say. And to say thank you for a fantastic
Yeah.
presentation. It really was. Sand, how boring. Oh, it's not.
I want to say 2.0.
Dean, go
Chris, can
ahead.
we get those videos?
I remembered. I watched a lot of different things on TV. You guys might remember it. And one is ATK, America's Test Kitchen, which does the physics and they got a good Lord about a 400 gallon plexiglass vat, and they made a slurry of 500 pounds of cornstarch, and the guy jumped on top of it, and as long as he kept moving his feet, he never got below his toes. And then they got another schnook, and they hoisted him up there, and they dropped him into it, and he sunk up to his chin in that corn. What would I say?
Cornstarch.
Cornstarch water slurry. Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Interesting.